And we're on our way. Oh, looks like they're having trouble with the garage door. Garage door repair guys here. This afternoon I have a sports field trip, picking up at 80 Miller High School, which is one of our high schools on the north end of town, and taking baseball and softball. It's going to be a full bus. So I'm going to have softball players, I think they're freshman softball players, and then varsity and junior varsity baseball players. Both have the same destination at the same time, so we pack them all on one bus. And they're going to Rupa Valley High School. We have a high school called Rupa Hills, but it's not that one. Rupa Valley is in the Rupa Unified School District, and it's down off of Belgrave and Etiwanda, right next to one of the Field of Dream fields. It's also right below a major auto distribution unloading center. So if you're into trains, very popular place for trains. My pickup time is 1:45. It's about 5 minutes to 1. About a 25-minute drive up to the high school this time of day. I like to be early. And the coaches appreciate it when you're early too. Less stress for them. I know a lot of drivers who do field trips and they say, well, you know, if the pickup time is 2 o'clock, then you just show up at 2 o'clock. It's like, okay, do that. Well, to each his own. I've been doing this on, I think, 38 years now. Been on both sides of the fence, so to speak. It's called customer service. You're on the clock anyways, so just head on up and be a few minutes early. Comes in handy, especially when, let's say, the venue gets changed and no one tells transportation, and now they're traveling even farther than originally planned. I've had that happen a couple times here and other jobs when I was doing trips. It happens. You know, they schedule a bus from this time to this time, going to this venue. Something changes, the school changes everything, but no one ever calls transportation to say, oh, by the way, instead of going to San Bernardino, we're now going to Cathedral City. Or instead of going to Riverside, we're now going to Los Angeles. those extra few minutes come in handy if you gotta take a freeway somewhere. Speaking of freeways, on our trip over we get to take the 210 freeway to the 15 freeway and then down to our destination. So, doesn't hurt being early. If you ever think about being a bus driver, or if you're a bus driver, just, common sense, something to think about, something to do. It's something my wife and I do, and it seems to work out pretty good. Get off your phone. I had a car coming up my backside. I don't want to get hit by him because this guy's parked. Oh, looky, we have a train. This is why I leave early. I don't hear a horn. Ah, it's Metrolink. Eastbound Metrolink heading to Fontana, Rialto, San Bernardino, and downtown San Bernardino. "30 years ago, I worked on that project." From 1991 to 1993, I worked for a company called Foresight and Associates. We were the management company for the Foothill Transit Zone. Foothill Transit is a privatization of public lines that they did way back when, back in the late 80s. I started out with a project in 1987 as a transit trainer supervisor for Laidlaw, and then I was also rolled into the position of dispatcher and charter manager with that job, so wore multiple hats. But in 1991, the client, Foothill Transit, came looking and recruited me to go to work for them. Well, okay, thank you. Someone finally let me over. So then I left Laidlaw, where I worked my way up to a terminal manager, and went to work for the Foothill Transit Zone as a Senior Operations Supervisor. At the time, the president of the Foothill Transit Board of Directors was the mayor of Claremont, a lady by the name of Judy Wright. She was also on the board for Southern California Regional Rail Authority. And getting trains to Claremont was really important to her. So she worked very diligent, and the result is Metrolink in Southern California. When I first started out at Foothill, my job was simple. Run the operations department for the second largest transit agency in Los Angeles County. Sounds easy enough. I reported to the executive director of Foothill Transit, and technically the contractors, Laidlaw and Ryder ATE, reported to me. Interesting times. And Then with any other job with a transit agency, you might have one title, but they throw a lot of stuff at you. The city of West Covina received a grant from the federal government to put in concrete pad bus stops. So wherever the bus stop is, they cut out the asphalt, pour in concrete, so then that way the bus parks there. It doesn't destroy the concrete. Doesn't destroy the asphalt on the street, and just makes for a smoother transition in the bus stop and not. And believe it or not, they have to do environmental impact reports for concrete bus stop pads. I'd have those come across my desk. I'd be one of 32 signatures signing off on the project. My job when I got one of these sheets, which was a legal pad, 8.5 by 14, that had the address, had the latitude, longitude, had all the specifics on it, where they want to put this thing. My job was to go out and go, thank you guys, but we don't have buses going there, and based on the height and the steepness of the street and everything else, we're never going to put a bus stop there. So I just go along and say, okay, no thank you. Stop it here. That was the second signature on the line. Someone would propose it, then I would say yay or nay, and then it goes on the way. If I said it was okay, then it went down to the next person, including city engineers, all the way down to the contractor signing off saying it's done, to implementing it, putting it in service. And then they'd be moving a bus stop block to the new location. My duties included being I was put on the West Covina Anti-Graffiti, City of West Covina Anti-Graffiti Task Force. I made recommendations, made some suggestions. Lo and behold, I missed a meeting and I was voted chairperson of the committee. Got a really nice thank you letter from them for being on their committee. I would do interviews I'd be on interview boards for transit agencies. City of Commerce was hiring a field supervisor. They invited me to be on the oral board for that. City of Commerce, I did Culver City, and I did one other transit agency. Who was it? Montebello. City of Montebello was hiring a field supervisor, and I was on the oral board for that. And everyone comes in, we interview, we ask questions. My specialty was Operations Supervisor, because I did that for Laidlaw, and then I did on the Foothill Transit Project. I did a lot of acts investigation, and then I did it for Foothill, so it's one of the perks I got to do. And then they put me on emergency plan for the city of West Covina. In case there's earthquakes or whatever, we'd have different groups that would work with the fire department on red tagging buildings. The training we would do with CERT. And then they said, okay, we're working on a plan to get Metrolink and the transit agencies to work together, try and schedule buses to meet trains or trains meet buses, and then the fare schedule, the buses would accept a ticket or a pass for one ride or one trip, and a discount on the train if you had to transfer from the bus, and all this other stuff. And I went to my first meeting. I got there early. I like getting places early. And they were discussing operations for Metrolink. They were talking about signaling and talking about putting in control points and all this other stuff. And the mayor of Claremont was there. I knew her from different things I did with the city of Claremont. I worked at Laidlaw and then with Foothill. And I was taking notes in the meeting. They asked who I was and said, okay, you're early, no problem. I sat there and I took notes in the meeting. I got a list of all the tracks that as the Southern California Regional Rail Authority bought from Southern Pacific and bought from Santa Fe. I was writing this stuff down like, crazy because I'm a rail fan. So at one point, one of the guys asked me, on the intermission, said, well, why were you taking so many notes? I said, I'm a rail fan. I go, you're a rail fan, you can come to all the meetings. You don't have to just come to the bus stop. So after that first meeting, the mayor of Claremont took me aside and said, why were you taking so many notes? I like trains, lady. I didn't say it like that. It's just, I'm a rail fan. She put me on a special assignment. She knew about it, I knew about it. And then in a confidential letter, my boss, the executive director for Foothill Transit, was notified that I was going to be a special liaison monitoring construction of the San Bernardino line between El Monte and Claremont. I guess some things were ordered and never showed up and stuff like that. So, I had carte blanche during construction. And I show up in my little Foothill Transit van. I'm wearing my Foothill Transit uniform, which is basically a dress shirt, suit coat, tie, black shoes. Look like somebody that should be in a business meeting and not out in the street. And I'm out there and I'm walking along the right of way, and this one guy walks up to me and told me I can't trespass. I said, well, I reached in my back pocket and showed him a letter signed by the mayor on the official stationery for Southern California Regional Rail Authority that says that I have carte blanche to construction sites and I'm there as her representative. Well, I got pictures of them tearing down tear apart the tracks, regrading everything, laying down new ties. When the train came to deliver the rail, I got a phone call so I could be there when the rail was being delivered, so I could see it was being delivered. It was a lot of fun. When the train cars showed up, they were leasing an old covered wagon locomotive, an E9, that's now at Orange Empire Railway Museum. I got to ride in that thing while they were moving train cars around for photo shoots. When the Metrolink engines got there, I got to ride on a couple special trains for photo shoots. Even got to ride on a special junket where we took board members to Union Station, parked the buses, took the bus drivers with us, and did a trip to San Juan Capistrano and back. And while we were in San Juan Capistrano touring, seeing the sights, they took the train set down to Oceanside and did a bunch of photo op there, different pictures and whatnot. So, yes, I'm a bus driver, but I haven't always been a bus driver. And I like trains, so that's a lousy parking job. I can't be next to a light, so they have access to my bays. There we go. We're at the school. My group comes out in 20 minutes. All is good in the world. That was a little bit about me, so I figure, okay, I'm getting old. I might as well share this stuff, put it on record someplace, so people know that I existed and what I did. See you later.